So when I think about Christmas books, they're usually romances. There go this one. I have this one here that just is not. What is happening? It's not cooperating today. Okay. Hey everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with the end of the year tag. So I thought it would be nice just to do a nice little relaxing, sit down, not very complex video today. So it's real short. It's the end of the year tag. I've definitely done this tag before, but it's been a while. So I don't remember my answers. Like it's been like 2 or 3 years. But not that it matters if I remember my answers because my answers change every year. Anyway, I've done this tag before, but I cannot remember who created it because past me did not put that down. So if I can figure it out before this video goes live, I'll put that in the description. I know Ariel Bissett has a end of the year tag. I don't know if it's the same one. And I know that it's not out anymore, so I cannot remember. But I'll put things down if I can remember. Either way, there's quite a few out there. So like it's not like there's only one. There's probably quite a few going. But this is the one that I've done in the past. So this is the one that I'm going to do again. There's only 10 questions, nothing crazy. But I did some like legit thinking with this one, and I think it's possible. All the books in here that I talk about that are part of the end of the year goal, I think it's doable. I think it's. I worked with what I wanted, like my plans for the end of the year. So sit down, relax, grab yourself a nice beverage. I have coffee in my little pumpkin mug here that definitely needs to be heated up. And let's dive in. So I have the questions on my computer here. So if I look there, that's why. The first one is, what is a new release you need to read by the end of the year? So the one I've chosen for this is not one that I already own, because of course not. It's one that I think isn't even out yet. And that is The Mating Game by Lana Ferguson. Do I know anything about this book? No. I know it's set in the winter, obviously. I think it probably has to do with werewolves based on the tracks that are around our two main couple. I've read one book by Lana Ferguson as of recording this, and I absolutely loved it. And now I need to read everything by her. It's become a problem. So this is the most recent one by this author, and I mean, it just screams winter. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be like a Christmas book. I don't know if it falls in that vein, but it's definitely winter. And I am in a romance mood right now, so that's all I've been picking up, and that's all I want to pick up. So this is like top of my TBR right now. Haha, I was right. I just Googled it to make sure, because I wasn't 100% sure that I was telling you the correct information. Well, when I say Google it, I mean I went on Goodreads. Either way, it says here at the very top that two wolf shifters reluctant to love discover there's no fighting the call of the wild in this steamy romance. That's all I need to know. I'm obsessed with her writing. I know I keep saying this, but I've only read one book by her, and it was just so good. So I'm all about it. Yeah, it's winter. If it doesn't get read in December, it's gonna get read in January. Like, it's one of those. Like, this doesn't feel Christmassy to me, so if I need to push it because of other Christmas books, I can. But my plan is to read it in December when it gets into that winter vibe, and I'm ready for all the cold settings and Christmas settings, and romance is always a thing that I'm in. Like, I'm a Hallmark person, so when I think about Christmas books, they're usually romances. There go this one. The next one is, what is a book that you will reread? And I wasn't sure about this because I don't usually reread a lot of books, but a book that I've already read has come up for the book club that I'm in for the people that I work with. And I think, because I loved it so much and I didn't have it the first time around, I think I want to reread it when we read it in November, so I can be reminded what happened, but also to like have it now that I know that I love it, which is The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. So, spoiler for my November TBR, maybe. I read this for my BookTube Maybe series. I'm pretty sure it was the second episode. It was the one I did of G from Book Roast. So I'll link that above if you are curious. It's been quite a few years since I read this, but I was obsessed with this book, and it's interesting because this is my first book by this author, so I'd never read anything by this author. And I took a chance because the synopsis kind of talks about a cheating scenario. Let me tell you what this is about first. So you follow 3 women, Siobhan, Miranda, and Jane. And they have all been they all have one thing in common. They were stood up on Valentine's Day. Unknown to them, it was by the same man. So that lends itself to a cheating plot, to which I usually, like, if that's part of a book, I'm like, I'm out. Unless it's like our main character's ex cheated on her and that's why they broke up, like, that's different. But if it's part of the plot and you're trying to root for the characters that are involved, I usually steer clear from that. It is so much more than that. Like, I cannot tell you anything about this book because it would just spoil it. But like, it's not about that. Like, that's not a thing. Even though you think it's a thing most of the book. I don't know how to explain it to you. But like, I really enjoyed this book so much. It was so good. I highly, highly recommend the audiobook route if you are an audiobook listener, because it is narrated, like, it's in all 3 of these women's perspectives, and each one of them has a different narrator, at least the version that I have, and they were all just so good. Like, I love them. So I'm gonna put this one in the hope that I actually am able to reread it and remind myself just how good this is. Like, a lot of this book I remember. There is not a lot of this book, at least the plot, that I have forgotten. There's probably a lot of nuances to it that I have forgotten, but it was just so good. So this is my plan because my book club is reading it, and I cannot wait to see what other people think about it because it was my recommendation. And it might hurt me if they don't like it. No, we can still be friends. But like, it's just so good. It's just so good. All right, the next one is, what is a series you want to continue? So as of recording this, you will not have seen this yet, but I am reading the Graves Glen series, which is the X-Hex, and then the sequel is the Kiss Curse. The 3rd book in this series is The Wedding Witch, which is set at Yuletide. So I want to continue this series because I have read the first 2 in the series, and the 3rd one, because it's set at Yuletide, is, to me, it's a Christmas story. So it may not be Christmas specific, but it's that winter holiday vibe. Because I've loved the first 2; they're just so good, and I'm really excited to dive into this one. They each follow a different brother in the I can't even remember the last name of this family, but like, they're witchy. The first 2 have been really fun romances. They're really, really short, and the book is maybe 300. Like, they're very short books. But this is the brother I know the least about. He's not like, he's been a part of the last 2 books, but he's the one that like travels a lot and is never really at home, and he just kind of showed up occasionally. So I don't know a lot about him, and I don't know a lot about this plot except for that it's set at Yuletide. So this is my answer, because it's just, I think it's going to be perfect for the time of the year that I want to read it in, which of course is December. The next one is, what is a book you'd like to buddy read? So I am actively buddy reading the Ravenel series with my friend Taylor. It's part of this read-along that we found. And there's 2 more books left, and we'll be done by the end of the year. So 1 for November, 1 for December. So I'm choosing the last 2 books in this series, which is Chasing Cassandra and Devil in Disguise. So this is a series like the Bridgertons that follows one family, the Ravenels, and people who are related or like connected to that family in some way. The first book starts with the Duke kind of I'm actually not sure he's a Duke, but someone inheriting this land and the family with it. So his cousin used to be the owner, the person in charge, and he passed away, and he left a widow and 3 sisters. So as of right now, the first book follows the widow and this guy. And we've had the older sister and one of the 2 younger twins. And Cassandra is the second one. So I know what that one follows. I have no idea what this last book follows, like who it is, because I think we've gotten everybody. So I'm not sure who this last one's going to follow. It honestly doesn't matter, because I've loved this series so much. So this is my answer, because I'm already going to be buddy reading the series, so I can finish it by the end of the year. And I'm very excited. They're just a lot of fun. They're some of my favorite historical romances. It's just nice to be able to plop one on every month and know that I'm going to get a really good story out of it. So I have 2 answers because they're both part of the same series. So in my head, they go together. So it's really just one answer. All right, the next one is, what is an age category or genre that's different from what you usually read? I mean, I don't read horror. at all, and I never will. So I'm not going to choose that because that's not really an answer. I do read sci-fi sometimes, but not a lot. But the one that I'm going to go with is going to sound weird if you've been here for a long time, and that is middle grade. And I picked this because I used to read a ton of middle grade. I used to have at least one middle grade in every single month, and there was a time where I just really, really enjoyed middle grade. And lately, I've just drifted towards more more adult books and things like that. Nothing wrong with middle grade. There's a lot of middle grade that I still definitely want to read. It's just I haven't been lately. And so I've picked up a couple here and there in the last couple of months, and that's been a lot of fun. So I want to read more middle grade. I have some plans for a couple of middle grades that are hopefully going to be read by the end of the year. We'll see. But this is a genre, or I guess an age category, that I used to read a ton from and just haven't lately. And I have so much middle grade. Like, all of our middle grade shelves are in my daughter's room. And I just go in there and I look at them and they're just so pretty. So I'm hoping, I have plans for the new year to hopefully get some series done. So I hope to read more, just kind of remind myself how much fun they are. Because they're just nice. Because the ones that I read are mostly fantastical. So they're nice, fun, whimsical stories. And I think I kind of miss it. It's a nice vibe. The next one is, what is a book from a previous TBR? And this is another Beth O'Leary book. I somehow have two of her books in this video, which is The Wake Up Call. This one I started, okay, when did it come out? I think I started it the year it came out. So this came out in 2023. So I think the Christmas of 2023, I started reading this. I honestly don't know how far I got into it. I'm going to have to restart it because I don't remember. And I honestly do not know why I put it down. Wait, 23? I was pregnant at the end of 2023. That's probably what it was. I wasn't reading anything that December, or that the end of the year. I just didn't want to read anything. I think that's probably what it was. So it was nothing against this book. I just was not in the reading mood. And I desperately, desperately want to pick this up because I remember really enjoying the little bits that I have seen. So I do have this on audiobook. So it says, two hotel receptionists and arch rivals find a collection of old wedding rings and compete to return them to their owners, discovering their own love along the way. So they work at this hotel that's kind of literally falling apart. I think the book starts with a giant hole in the ceiling or on the stairwell, something of those two. And so I believe a miscommunication is the reason that they don't like each other, like most communications or most enemies to lovers types of romances. But they both work in this hotel. It's very quaint, and it takes place during the Christmas season, or the holiday season. So I'm excited to dive into this one. Hopefully I have some holiday plans in December, and I'm hoping this will be on them because I now own it, which I'm very excited. Now I own all of Beth O'Leary books, and I've just really enjoyed what I literally got maybe 50 pages into this book. Maybe. It wasn't very much, but I remember really liking it. So I'm hoping this one, and it's definitely been on many a TBR. All right, the next one is a book that you recently purchased or acquired. Again, this is going to go into my holiday reading plans because I just got my pre-order of The 8 Heartbreaks of Hanukkah by Jean Meltzer, which is this author's most recent book, and the only book by this author that I haven't read, obviously, since it just came out. So it follows our main character, Evelyn, who she says has the perfect Hanukkah plan: 8 jam-packed days producing the live-action televised musical of A Christmas Carol. It starts with her having an accident that lands her in the medical bay because she suffers from chronic migraines, and her ex-husband is the studio doctor. His name is David, and it's been 2 years since they got divorced or broke up or whatever. And because she's a workaholic, and so he needed to step away. And because of these migraines, and because of, I don't know if it's because of the medication she's on or what, but he's worried for her health, obviously. And she starts hallucinating ghosts that are tied to her past heartbreaks. So it is probably not easy. I do know that there is a note at the very beginning from the author. So I am going to just read the very beginning of it because it talks about all the triggers in this book. It says, "Dear reader, this book contains depictions of chronic illness and disability, including migraines, as well as discussions on divorce, grief, infertility, pregnancy loss, termination for medical reasons, abortion, and fatal anomalies. If you're not in a place to engage with these safely, please put this book down until a later time." So this one I think is going to definitely tackle some significantly harder topics, but I've loved. I mean, even the books that aren't my favorite by this author, I still really enjoyed, and I can't wait to dive into it. And my favorite book from her is still the first one I ever read, which was The Matzo Ball. And I'm excited to dive into another holiday romance from her. So I just got my pre-order in the mail because it just came out. So I'm so excited about this. All right, what is a book that is on your physical TBR? I mean, anything that I've mentioned so far would work. But the one I'm choosing, again, I'm hoping to get to it by the end of the year, but if not, then I'll push it off to January because it gives me the fall or the winter vibes, and that is Throne of Secrets by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the second in her, I don't even remember what the series is called. Something of Sin, Prince of Sin series. It's based in the same world as Kingdom of the Wicked, which is a trilogy that I really, really enjoyed. And in that world, there are 7 princes of sin or 7 deadly sins, and they all like inhibit a different sin. And so this series follows the other Princes of Sin. The main series, the trilogy, follows the Prince of Wrath. The first book followed Prince of Envy, and this one follows Prince of Gluttony, which I know almost nothing about. Like, he's not a prince that was heavily featured in the main trilogy, so I'm excited about this one. It says, 2 rivals torn apart by a dark memory reunite on a deadly hunt in an irresistible, twisted fairy tale. So the reason I'm thinking this will be a good winter book is because I saw Desi from Darling Desi reading this last year, I want to say, maybe the year before. No, I think it came out last year. And she had mentioned that it was really good for the winter period because this book specifically goes to locations with snow and cold. And while like there's parts of the underground where the princes live, this other dimension, if you will, there are parts of it that are snow covered and cold, but it's not all that. And the last book definitely didn't have that vibe. It was definitely more of a warmer vibe. But I've heard that this one tends to be a little bit colder. I mean, it's also a blue cover. I know that the 3rd book in this series is coming out later this year, and I need to get my hands on that at some point, but I want to read this one before that one comes out. And so that's why it's on this list. I'm hoping to get to it. I've had it on many a TBR. I've had it on my brain as a good winter read because of the things that I've heard from people. I just love this series. I got it for Christmas last year. So that tells you how much I need to read this book. But it's just, I've loved this series. I love these characters. I'm excited to dive into one that not only features a like reporter of sorts, the female character is a reporter, but it also features a prince I don't know that much about. So I don't have any like already like preconceived notions about him. So I'd love to get to this one in December. Will I? I don't know, but if not, then you will see that on my January TBR. Hopefully. The next one is, what is a hyped book you want to read? I mean, there's a ton, but the one that I'm going to choose is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, which is this author's most recent book. It came out a little bit earlier this year. I've seen it everywhere. I've heard really good things about it by people that I trust. I'm really hoping to get to it in November sometime. I was not able to get to it in, what month are we in? October. But I think there's a chance I could get to it in November. I'm not sure. But I've heard fantastic things about it. I have this beautiful Barnes & Noble special edition, which has these sprayed edges. Also, for such a small book, like it's not a small book, but like a thin book, it is crazy heavy. It's gothic. It's gothic vibe leaning. I really enjoyed the other series by this author, which was the Shepherd King duology. The first one being One Dark Window. So this is about like seers, and there's a mystery because a knight is helping this girl who's like she's a diviner. That's what they're called. And so she and a bunch of other diviners, like, you become a diviner in this world. Okay, let me back up a little bit. In this world, you become a diviner when I think you're 9 and you're serving for like 10 years or something, and they're coming up to the end of their term, if you will. And they're talking about what they're going to do in the future, and they're really excited about it. And all of a sudden, these other women who are diviners with her that she considers her sisters start disappearing. And so there's this really grumpy knight that's visiting, and she gets his help to figure out what the heck is going on. I do believe it's the first in a duology, or at least the first in a series. I know that the author's previous book was or previous books were duology, so I'm excited. I've heard good things. I feel like that one's really hyped, at least in the circles that I'm in. And the last book, I don't know why we're ending on such a happy note, is the book that you previously DNF'd. So I went back. So I do DNF books, just not a ton. And the most recent book I DNF'd was in September, and that was Mary and the Birth of Frankenstein. I'll leave my September wrap up if you are curious and you want to go check out my thoughts on it. I just didn't like any of the characters in this. It was just not fun for me. And I got to like 43% of the way through the book. I think it was in the 40s somewhere. And I just found that I was reading it to read, like just so I could fulfill a prompt for the Magical Readathon. And I felt like by reading almost half of the book, I had given it a fair chance. And it is a dual timeline. It follows Mary Shelley as she's kind of creating Frankenstein, and it's in the present where she's at this like summer vacation. Actually, I'm not even sure it's summer, but it's a holiday with some of her friends, her writing friends, and they're doing a competition to write a scary kind of story. And then there's like 5 or 6 years in the past when she was staying with the family and became very close with the daughter there. It is supposed to be queer. I don't actually know if it is or not because I stopped reading before it had the chance to do anything. The past was fine. The present, I didn't like a single person in the present. It was also really hard because Mary is dealing with a lot of grief that's related to the passing of a child, and so especially a young child. And so it was very hard to get through because all that is just not the most fun thing to read about. So if you're curious about this book, check trigger warnings because there's quite a few. But yeah, I just couldn't get through it. I just didn't like anybody. I didn't like anybody. So that's it. I think those are my answers to the end of the year tag. I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to comment something, what is a series you want to continue before the end of the year? Not maybe necessarily finish, but like just make some more progress in. Let me know down below. And if you want to comment something but you're not sure what to comment, comment the snowflake, because I talked about a lot of things that I would want to read in December that are kind of cold, but that's all I have for you guys today. So I hope that you enjoyed. And if you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you've been part of this awesome growing family. I've got all my social media down there as well as my friend Bookish links. So check all that out, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.